reading so
Yes,
we can
we
get that
have.
done.
I'm not
and
sure
then,
whether the person is listening tonight.
Right, and that is
This came from a YouTube viewer.
a gentleman by the name of
Doug,
and
and
he was born on October 30th, 1969 at 10:53 a.m. in Canton, Ohio.
Okay. Well, first of all, he has Sagittarius on his ascendant, which is between the 1st and the 12th house.
Right.
And that ascendant there is the part of you that becomes the personality. And his personality is should be a very jovial one, very happy one. He loves his freedom.
Right.
He really loves his freedom. And actually, if he's married or in a relationship, then his, he really does enjoy times when he's on his own. He has nothing in his first house, which is the house of the self and doing things for you, the ego and the self-confidence. Yeah, so he's worked through that. There are 12 houses in the chart, and each house represents a portion of yourself, and the first house represents who you are, just as the ascendant represents the personality.
Right.
The second house is all about money and finances and assets, and he has a very fortuitous sign there, and also, but although it's going to take him time to get what he wants, he has Mars there, and his Mars is in Capricorn. Now, when it's in Capricorn, it takes you quite a long, slow time to get the, the things that you want in life. Get the rewards. Get your rewards and the assets, but, he will get them, and he's got a lot of energy there to get them with. In his third house, he has Chiron, and he has his North Node. His Chiron is retrograde, which indicates this is another, one of those times where he hasn't learnt it in the past.
And it's also in the sign of Aries.
And it's also in the sign of Aries, which is actually quite
a strong sign.
Yeah, very strong. And it's where his healing is. It's where his deep wounds are, first of all.
Right.
And the third house represents communication and brothers and sisters.
Right.
If he has any brothers and sisters, he could have had some issues with them.
Right.
And at the same time, he has a lot of... I'm seeing somebody who in past lifetimes has had great difficulty communicating what he wanted to say and feel. And usually it's interesting, people who have Chiron in the third house can often have real difficulty with communications. And usually some of them have a stutter or a stammer, or they're hesitant to speak or to speak their truth. But the North Node, tells me that he's here to work through that issue. And it's an important thing for him to learn to communicate. He's also actually destined to be in the public arena later on. We'll go on to that. So that could be where that communications issue is. In the fourth house, which is home and family, and usually the mother, and I say usually because it can be the father, but usually it is the mother, he has Saturn in Taurus. Now, Saturn is a hard taskmaster. Saturn says you will either wait a long while to buy the house of your dreams, or you will have lots of problems with rental properties or moving around or just where you live and things happening and going wrong. But it's all there. And again, it's retrograde. So it's been back a number of times for learning. And it's back there again for learning in this incarnation. But the interesting thing is that if he can face the issues of Saturn, learn the lessons of Saturn, Saturn always rewards. So one day he should have a wonderful home if he hasn't got it now, because he could have already worked through all of these issues. The fifth house is empty, and the fifth house is the house of children and creativity. So he has nothing to learn there. When you have an empty house, it means that there is nothing that you have to learn there. You've learned it in past lifetimes. It's not come back again for existence and learning. And it's children and creativity, the fifth house. The sixth house is health and healing and work and service. And the work and service can be in voluntary work, working in low-paid jobs.
Yeah, you have to work very hard for what you get.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have anything there.
No, he doesn't.
Seventh house?
Seventh house is the moon, is the emotions, and, you know, it's in the sign of Cancer. Partnerships and also relationships are here, marriages. I don't know whether he is still married or in a relationship, but he's very affected by relationships. He's got a lot to learn about the emotional side of marriage. I feel myself it's to learn not to be emotional, not to give emotions to that area.
Which
to
in
detach.
the sign of Cancer would be very sensitive.
Very, very.
So that's really the
big
moon.
lesson.
The moon in Cancer is kind of a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in his 8th house, which is the 8th house is a big house. It represents other people's money.
Right.
It represents sex and sexual energy. It represents death and dying. It represents metaphysics. It represents insurances, inheritances, money winnings.
Right.
Right. And in that house, he has his part of fortune, which is where he finds his passion. So he may find his passion in metaphysics. And he could also be involved in other people's money in some way.
I think he'd be an incredible stockbroker.
Oh, he would be if he could be. And he has his trans-Pluto there, which is all about transformation of himself through that 8th house of all those issues, or some of them. In his 9th house, he has, which is the house of spirituality and travel, higher learning. He has Venus in Libra. He has Uranus in Libra and Pluto in Libra and his South Node in Libra. He has been...
His Pluto and South Node are in
Sagittarius. No, it's me.
Are in
Pluto
Virgo.
in Virgo. And his South Node in Virgo. And Uranus in Libra and his Venus in Libra.
Right.
Now, the issue with his South Node is that he has been on a searching path for God. He's been trying to find God for a number of incarnations. And in this lifetime, he's supposed to find God. But he's been in a monastery. He's been in many different...
You name it, he's tried to find it.
He's tried to find it. He's been,
I'll do the monk life this time around. Maybe I can find it.
Yeah. His Pluto is all about transformation in that house, although it can be very hard on himself as a Virgo.
Right.
The Uranus is about changing the thinking and the, changing the thinking and changing the energy of what he's been doing in the past.
But teaching through, that's also using, since 9th house is teaching, Uranus is all about internet communications, video. It's the new wave communications.
Yes, definitely. And Venus, of course, is a very beautiful energy. It's a higher learning on a level of God, and finding out who God is, basically. His 10th house. Now, this is where I honestly feel that he is either in the public arena or he does something in the public arena. And if he hasn't, this is what he's come here to do. Because his sun is in Scorpio in this house. He's got Mercury in Libra and he's got Jupiter in Libra. And it's all about, first of all, finding balance, but also of being true to himself. Total transformation. And, he is going to be, if he's not already, a very public person.
Oh, I mean, looking at his chart there before we get to the 11th house, I mean, you have a person that's has incredible energy to teach and has incredible energy to be in the public arena.
It could be an entertainer.
Has incredible energy in his financial house, and on top of that, in his part of fortune in his 8th house, people want to give him their money. I mean, this guy's got, this guy has the ability to do it all if he uses the energies.
And look at what's in the 11th house, which is the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams. He has his Neptune there, and Neptune is all about the illusion, creating the dream.
Exactly.
And thinking and visualizing the dream and allowing that dream to visualize and come into being. His 12th house is empty,
Yep.
and that's good because the 12th house is the house of karma. It's the house of deep subconscious energy.
Right.
And if you have planets in this house, it's really
It's deep stuff. Yeah.
And it takes you ages to get it out, because Alan and I know that, don't we, Alan?
Yep.
We've both got our Neptune in this house. So, you know, the 12th house is really, really deep.
So, Doug, if I'm giving you any information here and you're having trouble with that seventh house moon and in Cancer, just make sure you have the prenups in line because because you're going to be worth a lot of money.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
You are.
And also on the midheaven, which is between the 9th and the 10th house, he has the sign of Libra.
Right. Everything's about balance.
Everything is
and
about
he's a very,
balance.
very truthful person.
Very truthful, very honest.
Which would be tough for him with that moon and that emotions. He feels that
it's not easy for this man. It's not, but he's got a great future if he hasn't already created it.
He should be.
Because he's 40 now.
Yeah, I'd say he's
41.
pretty good. I'd say he's pretty good. So
41 this year.
So good job, Doug. Great chart, though. Really great chart. All right, here we go. Let me show